Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Gambit, some of the changes Bungie has already announced to Gambit for November, and let's talk about some of the things I'd like to see change with the mode. Let's get into it. In a recent TWAB, Bungie had this to say about Gambit and Gambit Prime. As a reminder, Gambit and Gambit Prime will be merging into a single experience when Year 4 kicks off on November 10th. The new version of Gambit will be similar to Gambit Prime as a single round face-off with tweaked blockers, heavier moat drain, and some changes to the primeval fight. We will give more details on these updates before the revamped mode goes live next season. They then go on to say they'll be removing Cathedral of Scars and Kel's Grave to the DCV. As we perform maintenance on the activity, Gambit Prime armor perks will be deprecated. We are exploring ways to rebalance and reintroduce these perks as armor mods in the future. Alongside these changes, we'll be rotating some maps into the DCV while retaining popular arenas for the mode. So those changes were very vague and probably on purpose. They didn't want to set any expectations that they might not be able to meet. So let's get into some of the things that I think would make Gambit a much more enjoyable experience. Firstly, the intros are way too long. Once you set in matchmaking, you fly into the Gambit arena, the Drifter does his thing, and then they have the character introductions where you can shoot at each other and all that. Way too long. We're talking 21 to 30 seconds of really unnecessary waiting time to actually get into the mode. Next up are invades. They occur way too often, especially in Gambit Prime once the primeval is spawned. So I would like to propose invades at 50 and 100 motes. Then you get one invade when the opposing team summons their primeval. Then you have one more opportunity to invade once the opposing primeval is down to 33% or lower in health. And while staying on the topic of invaders, the invader having full radar and nameplates visible the whole time of the invade has to go. They should get 5 seconds once they invade, they enter the portal, they have 5 seconds to see where the nameplates are and the moat numbers that are associated with each of those opposing players. They shouldn't have the full time to know who to target. It should give the opposing team a little bit of opportunity to counter that invade. And next up, staying on the topic of invades, I think that heavy ammo should be halved when you go into the portal. So if you have 300 in your machine gun reserves, it should be reduced to 150. This accomplishes two things. One, it gives the invader less ammo to use. They just can't be spraying machine gun shots all over the place. And two is when they go back to their team, they have half the ammo that they started with. So they have to make the decision of whether or not to go in and invade or use that heavy ammo for their PvE side. So next up, and if you've been paying attention to the background B-roll footage, I just deposited 15 motes and I had 3 teammates still playing the PvE side trying to gather motes, which we didn't need. The other team had already called their primeval. We needed to bank 3 motes and we could have kept pace, but they didn't. Whether they were doing bounties or they weren't paying attention, we need an incentive to win. So what I'd like to see is the winning team be guaranteed legendary loot specific from a brand new Gambit loot pool that would hopefully come in November along with the changes to Gambit. Now that could be armor, that could be maybe new mods, that could be weapons, whatever. Just make it desirable to win a Gambit match. And that leads into the last change I'd like to see happen. So Bungie's already said that they're deprecating the old Gambit Prime armor and they're going to introduce mods. Well, I really don't want to be changing mods in and out of my armor every time I decide to enter the Gambit Prime playlist. So what they could do is they could have the intrinsic perks on the new Gambit Prime armor that we would earn in the playlist and not from a separate activity. We all saw what happened the last time they tried to make Gambit a focus of the game, and it didn't hold our attention very long. It didn't feel like it was really rewarding enough to do. And if you probably noticed all the Gambit Prime matches that you played, there's not many people actually wearing that old Gambit armor anyway, because everyone's just trying to burn the primeval as quickly as possible to begin with. I want to thank everybody for stopping by and listening to my thoughts. You probably have another million things that you'd like to see change with Gambit and Gambit Prime. I'll drop those in the comments section. I read every comment and I'll respond if applicable. And let's keep it constructive. There's nothing worse than basically telling a developer that what they did was absolute garbage. That doesn't get us anywhere. So let's keep it constructive, and a like and a sub would be very much appreciated, and we will catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.